Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the BS Buddies podcast. I am your host, Ian, and that is your other host, Joe. And today we have decided to breach the topic of some funny pet stories. Since both of us sitting here had the cats sitting next to us, and for me, the dog is out laying in the kitchen, and we thought, you know what, let's bring a little humor in today and talk about some of the goofy, stupid things your pets do that make you chuckle and make you happy that you have them in your life, or really angry, and sometimes you wonder why you keep them little shits around, like this one when he goes and bites the Christmas tree and I hear the bell jingling-a-linging at 2 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's that time of year for all the cats to knock down ornament after ornament.
the eyes get
Um,
big as quarters and the stupid mode engages.
um,
Ah,
so I got a handful of them. I can't really think too well right now. I'll just start since you did the intro. Give
even
yourself a
even if you've
break.
got some funny behaviors like Mags, you can
Oh
talk.
yeah, I got some for him, but we're gonna go back to the past. I had a cat, black and white cat named Roger. Now yes, she was named Roger. A, that's a starting
Interest,
point.
interesting.
Um,
All right.
so how my parents' house was set up, um, I'll try and explain it as best I can. Ian, you'll know exactly. Ian has been in this house countless times, but we have a little hallway that goes into which there's a door to the bathroom, door to my bedroom, and then door to the living room, and then like this hallway will very small hallway, but it leads into the kitchen. I had this cat, Roger. If I could get her riled up enough and like chasing a laser or something, my parents had laminate flooring, so you would just hear like the claws just trying
That'll
traction. There was one time I was playing with a cat and then like did the laser pointer from the living room and then down the hall and then into the kitchen. I think I did it at a quick angle around the corner. You just see this cat Roger like trying to claw and like go from straight to drifting, and then I just hear a bang, and this cat didn't get traction enough and just slammed into the freezer. Just
Ooh.
like from shoulder to like butt, just slammed, but just
Full
kept on
broadside.
going. But yeah, you just hear the traction and then just a slam, and then just like, I need that laser. Like, we got to
Come
keep
here.
going.
Come here. You you're mistaken. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. I love when cats get riled up like that. I used to have a cat named Alex, also a she, and when she was younger, I was a little stinker to her, and what I used to do is I would toss her on the couch, not hard, not like I'd whip her fastball into the couch cushions, but you'd bounce her off the couch cushions, and then you'd pretend to run away into our kitchen. And our kitchen had a so the living room and the kitchen were connected by one hallway, and then there was another hallway that bisected that one, and that's the one that led to the bathroom. Well, so you throw her on the couch, walk into the kitchen, and then she would come sauntering into the kitchen like, "Oh, where'd you go?" And you'd pop around the corner and go booga booga booga, and it would scare the crap out of her, and she'd go falling around the house. Well, one time I scared her a little bit too much, and she went tearing back down the hallway towards the living room, except she took a hard right to go towards the bathroom. She did not account for the laminate flooring and the apparent lack of control that occurs when you are running at a high rate of speed and make a sharp turn on a slick surface. And so she went skidding around the corner, except she didn't full broadside into the wall. Her butt connected with the corner of the wall
Oh,
as she went around, and she ended up spinning a full like 720 so that she won 360 and then a 180, or no, that's not
that'd be a
math.
540. 540.
540. That's what numbers are hard. I can't count. But She ended up doing a 540, looking at me with these eyes as big as quarters, and I went boo. And I don't think I've ever seen a cat back up so fast. And she backed up so fast, she backed into the bathroom door and fell off. And then that was at the point where I thought, okay, maybe I'm a little too mean, and maybe I should stop scaring her before I give her nightmares for life.
Um, well, I'm gonna take it from cats and go to dogs. So my brother-in-law and my sister have had dogs the entire time they've been together, and right when, I think a little bit before they got married, they got this dog named Hendrix, and they name all their dogs after famous guitarists. So they had Hendrix, Clapton, and now they have King after BB King. Um, they
Nice.
got Hendrix as a puppy, and oh my goodness, if you've ever seen Marley and Me, he was basically that dog to a T. Like,
Oh no.
like
Even the ending?
not. Um.
Oh no.
Anyways,
Spoiler alert.
so he was like part boxer, part like three or four other things. He wasn't a big dog, but oh my goodness, this little dog had so much power behind him. When he was a puppy, like you could rile him up easy. Um, there was, I think he was two or three at this time. We went to church for Christmas mass, and we've had so many. Well, we had so many issues keeping him locked up in whatever crate. Like if it was plastic, he was breaking out of it, no problem. Um, Eventually, my brother-in-law bought this like industrial-sized crate with like 3/4 inch bars around it, like this much of a gap, like 3 inch gap maybe.
What
He
kind of
called it
dog size is
Alcatraz for
it? Yeah.
good reason. Which that one he finally couldn't break out of. But back when we were having issues keeping him in, he broke out. Excuse me. While we were at church, and we came back, and he
Oh
ate
no.
like half half a bag of potatoes, roughly. That was probably maybe over exaggerating, but like he broke into a bag of potatoes and ate some.
But of
The
all things,
the big
potatoes?
hold on. The big issue we saw it, he got to the table and we had a small bowl full of those like chocolate stars
Oh
that you put on
no.
the Christmas cookies, and if you
Hmm.
know dogs, like that's toxic to them. He ate like a small bowl of that and like a small bowl of like cheese and stuff. Um, he survived that. Like, didn't take him in. We were thinking maybe because of the cheese and just kind of clogged him up. I don't know, but
Blocked him
um,
up.
yeah, he survived. But yeah, couple years ago, yeah, the Marley and Me ending basically not like that, but major health condition.
Oh.
But he was a good doggo. He was a nutty dog. But oh, and whenever I would go visit my sisters and I would like sleep on the couch, just in the middle of the night, he would uh, just randomly lick your feet in the middle of the night. Nowhere else on you, just your feet.
I, oh, that's funny. Just the toe. He wanted the toe jam. He wanted the cheese between your
Like,
toes.
I'll just be laying down and then just feel something wet on my foot, and it's like, what is going on?
What
And
is
then like just trying to kick my feet away.
get away from it? Well, as an offshoot, once I had that same cat when I was little Alex. She, for some reason, would attack your feet. I remember, when I'd have my friends come over and we'd asleep on the couch and the floor or whatever. Ooh. I had a sleeping bag I was using like a blanket, and I guess in my sleep I was wiggling my toes back and forth. And in my dream,
Oh,
I kept feeling this sharp pain in my feet. And in my dream, that translated to I'm stepping on nails. And when I woke up, God, buggers, what?
oh, I see. I see a
My cat is
bubbers.
he's currently trying to sit on my lap, but he's an all black cat, so he's very hard to
Oh,
see on the camera. But when I woke up, I looked down and my cat Alex was biting my toes as they were wiggling back and forth under the blanket. But moving moving on to dogs, I had a dog growing up. Her name was Boo, and she was a blue heeler through and through. And for anyone out there who knows anything about blue heelers, they are high energy and they are stubborn, hard-headed, and independent dogs. They listen to one, maybe two people. Everybody else, you might as well be chopped liver. And her and I were always fighting for position on pecking order on who's who on the totem pole. But that dog, when she was younger, she was fast. She was probably about 40, 50 pounds. And she stayed in very good shape because she helped my uncle herd the cattle on the farm. And one day, she loved chasing soccer balls. It was one of her favorite things. If you weren't there to play soccer with her, she used to kick or push a ball up and down the field roads with her head just to keep herself entertained. And one day, she was messing around down by the parlor. I don't know, doing something. My uncle was down there, and she had to be down there. Well, I gave her a whistle, boo boo, and she looks up, and I've got her favorite soccer ball, and I punt it across the yard, and I see her just ears back, tail out, zoom like a bat out of hell. She's making beeline for the ball 'cause time to play. And one of the trucks was parked in the drive, and the ball happened to bounce up past the truck in the drive. Well, this truck had a hitch on the back, and the hitch was sticking out, and Boo Boo was just big enough that her forehead would contact with the hitch when she was standing
ooh.
at full height. And so she's zipping, and she could move. That dog could run up to about 30 miles an hour. No joke. She would zip. And she's running full speed, and I'm looking at my dad laughing as dad watches her goes running, and we're kind of chuckling that, oh, Boo Boo's going for the ball. And then you hear this loud clang, and what in the world was that? And you look over, and she had run full force, smacked into the hitch because she hadn't
Oh.
guesstimated the height of the hitch poking out and had gotten too close to the truck. Did not phase her. Not ill, not in the slightest. Didn't slow down, didn't stop. You heard clang, head lolled to one side, and she kept on sprinting and shook it off and went and got that ball. I've never seen a dog with a harder head smack a steel hitch. This dog was so tough, and she was so ornery. She used to pants me. She used to have this thing where she loved to bite the cuff of your pants or the cuff of your sweatshirt. Those were the two places. She was very springy. She could spring like 6 feet up. So if you were walking, you tried to hold your arms up to keep the sleeves away. She would just jump up to your head height, trying to nip at them. And for me, what she loved to do was if I didn't have a sweatshirt, she would bite the cuff of my pants and yank. Well, one day I was wearing God, it was those ridiculous pants that were in style in the mid 2000s. They had zippers just below the knees
Like
so that you could
windbreakers?
they were like windbreakers, but they were cargo pants. And they had zippers just below the knee. You could unzip the bottom half of the pants and
I know
convert
what
them
you
into
mean.
shorts.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they didn't have belt loops. They had them stupid little elastic pull strings where you would zip the clamp up, and that's how you held the pants on. Well, I was wearing them as full-length pants, and the dog thinks she's going to be funny and come try and pants me or yank on my cuffs. And you couldn't get her to let go once she was latched on because she would just bite and hold. She wouldn't try and chew. She'd just bite, hold, and yank like she was going to pull you around the yard. And I thought I was going to be clever and jump up into the tree and climb away from her. But I wasn't fast enough because as my hands hit the branch, she leapt through the air, latched onto my pants, And when a 40-pound dog meets pants that are only held up by an elastic band, suddenly you have a 10-year-old in tidy whities running around the yard chasing a dog who thinks playing keep away with pants is a fun game. Come here, Poof! It was, yeah, she was something else. I tell you what, I've never met a more spirited dog than that. Boy, she was wild.
Um, I had one. I had like two dogs in my life. One was like kind of iffy if it was because it didn't stay around very long. One dog I had, Waffles. Um, Whenever me and my sister would go to daycare, the dog learned the bus route because we would like yell out the window, and then so she like learned it right away, then would run to the daycare and go meet up with us.
Hey, there you go. Dog from homes come to daycare. What's better than that?
um, I I don't have a lot of else that I can think of off the top of my head, but I got one funny one about my boy Magnus. Um, I've
The chunky boy.
shown him one other time. He's 25 pounds of derpiness. Um,
Rotund. He is a big boy.
so we had like a little cat tree, like a window one you stick on. It has a platform where cats can lay. We taught him how to get up into that um one night, and then like the next night or the next day woke up and like one of the suction cups was like off. Like he tried it during the night and fell out of it. But once we figured out how to keep it secure, excuse me, still getting over a cold. Um, we taught him how to like get up in there, and he stayed. Um, he also does this thing where if you can pet him super hard and he loves it, he'll scratch. Well, you'll scratch him and he'll just go nuts. Like he'll flail his head. He'll start licking himself like crazy. And one time when he was up there, my fiance was scratching him, and
Oh no.
like he was going nuts like usual. And then at one point, he just whips his head back, smacks his head against the window like super hard, and then like stares at Debbie like, "What did you do to me?"
Why did you make me do this?
Like just
Look what you did.
he just wide eyes, just staring at her, like not around like what happened, just like at her, like, "What did you do to me? Why'd you make me do that?"
You mind controlled me to smack the window. I was thinking about that. As soon as you said window, it reminded me of the time that we were recording one of the improvs at your parents' house. We were sitting there and we had birds were floating around the feeder that was just outside of the bay window at your parents' house. And for whatever reason, one of the cats, um, mind you, these cats were probably what 6, 7, 8 at the time. They're old enough to know
um
that the windows were there. They were not kittens. They'd been around this house a minute. They should have definitely known that the window was there. And one of them took off like a shot. And in the middle of this video of us as little 15-year-olds being wacky in the YouTubes of the time, all you hear is "Ong," and both of us stopped and looked over and went, "What in the world?" Dude, who was that? Which cat was that was doing that?
um I feel like it was Nishi.
It might have been
All
Nishi.
black.
I think, yeah, I think so. I think that
um
was the one. 'Cause you don't see the cat in the video. All you hear is this big thump.
um which, while we're brought him up, Nishi, how my sister and my mom picked him up. He was in a shelter for like 3 years, I believe, or a year and a half, something like that. And on the Twins, the Minnesota Twins baseball team, we had a new Japanese player called Tsuyoshi Nishioka, which we were really excited for, and that didn't pan out very well. Um, um, but Libby loved him when he first started. So like when we got this all black cat, she's like, I want to name him Nishi. I'm like, that's honestly a perfect name. I love that name. Coolest cat ever. Was super playful, but also super cuddly, but also knew the limit of how much cuddling is too much. When I would lay on my stomach, he would come into the room and just lay straight on my back, like right under my neck. It was so comfortable. There was one video that my sister took with him, and her friend just goes, "Give me a high five," just sticks her hand out, and then just immediately puts his paw up and just hits it. Like he was
Hey, look at
just
this. Whap.
he was just a
Yeah, I
sick
got you,
cat.
bro. Oh, I wish this one right here was cool. Bubbers, you can only see your ear in the video. He's a big old doorknob. Formerly, for our constituents who are watching, formerly he is Mr. Chubbs. However, through many evolutions, his name has now come to Bubbers or Bubs. He is a 17-pound tomcat who is full of joy. He does not have a mean bone in his body. I've never seen this cat even hiss or claw in anger. And like Mags, he enjoys being pet roughly. The harder, the better. In fact, he likes being pet both ways. You pet with the grain of his fur and against the grain of his fur. And if you stop, he will look up at you and he will start raising a fuss like, "Why'd you quit? Keep going. I was enjoying myself." And the problem is, he has no fear, but he gets spooked very easily. And what I mean by that is he always tries to get outside. Zero fear of the outside. He would roam the yard and run away in a heartbeat if he could. However, he could be sniffing your foot, and if you flex your toes, he might jump 5 feet back, like, "Oh my God, they move!" And now he's glaring at me because he knows I'm
I can see
talking
it.
about. He knows I'm talking about him. So he's a big old goober, and I love him to death. Even though I swear he's actually super smart, but he's screwing with me because he acts like he's dumb and runs around, but he also knows when he's not supposed to get into things. Like the other day, he went to go walk under the tree, and he doesn't mess with the tree too much, but he'll try and bite the pine needles. I
Okay,
don't know
that's
why.
typical cat thing.
And I saw him sniffing at the tree, and I went, "Bummers," real quick, and immediately he turned around and walked away. And when he gets in trouble, he does this little chirp. It's kind of like a little, like he knows that he screwed up, and he tries to play it off like, "Oh, it was me. Who, me? I would never. I don't do that." But you're like, "I know you know when you're wrong, you little sucker, because all I have to do is yell at you, and you run away from whatever you're doing because you know you're not supposed to be doing it." So.
Uh, for us here, we got Magnus. He's the oldest. Um, my derpy boy, biggest cat I think I've ever had, and the most afraid cat I've ever had. Like my parents came over for Thanksgiving for a bit. My mom came in the room and he just booked it out. And then after a while, like he loves my dad. My dad has spent a lot of nights with me over the years that I've had Megs, and like once he realized my dad was here and like he was comfortable. The thing is, he's big and he's not very agile, but like he came over to my dad who was sitting in a chair and he stood up on his hind legs and was like just looking up, and he'll stand on his back legs for like 10 seconds like,
He's like,
but
"Hey,
it's,
what you doing back there?
and
What
when
you doing?"
he's not not doing that, he's trying to eat tape wherever there's yeah, that's like
It's the
I'm I will take that rather than cords with how much electronics I have, but
it's the
this
cat equivalent of eating glue, Elmer's
yes,
glue, right
like
out of the
I'll just
tube.
hear like a munching noise and then it's like, "Oh
What do
yeah,
you
we
got?
just got packages." He's chewing the tape on the boxes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then we got Jackson, who's Debbie's cat, and he's about the same age but half the weight. And Um, like I pet cats just however I feel I want to or need to because I've had so many. And just recently, like I pet him, I would say medium, like not super hard, but just enough force. And Debbie just said the other day, like she's like, "Do you not like?" He likes really, really soft pets. He doesn't like hard pets at all. I'm like, wait, we've been together for 3 years, and you've never told me that your cat.
You're just mentioning this now?
She's like, I thought you knew. I'm like, no, no wonder he doesn't come and snuggle with me because I pet him too hard.
He probably thinks I'm being an ass.
And then the last one we got is Mara. She's a 7 pound gray tuxedo. Um, Debbie's cousin. I think she's a vet tech. But they had this cat come in, super small, like we want to say blue Russian, but very small and will not get bigger. Some farmer found her out in the cold. She has frostbite on one of her paws. Half of her
Oh,
tail is gone because it was frostbitten off, and she has half a right ear because it got frostbitten off. And when
oh.
we first got her, like she was super crabby. Like you would try and scratch her butt, and like within 3 seconds, like she was trying to bite your hand. But now she's like, as Ian saw before we recorded this, she's just my little lover. Like
Yep.
she's super cuddly. Like I'll put my hand down to pet her, and she will just plaster her forehead just into my palm, just like pet
Well,
me as hard as possible.
well, yeah. Now she's living the good life. You know, if you were missing part of an ear, half an ass cheek, and some of your finger was discolored, you might be a little angry at first too. You got to give
You
him some
know,
time to come around,
like I
man.
don't blame her, but when you put it that way,
No, well, and see, I would be remiss, and someone would be very angry if I did not mention the other furry member of our household, which is my girlfriend Jocelyn's dog, Brutus. He is a big boy. He's a beautiful Akita. Um, very smart, listens very well, and he even talks to you. He lets you know when he wants food and water and all that. We go through a list, and he's got a very deep voice. So it's whenever he wants something, he does sort of a low growl. It's very cute. And although he is quite smart and quite elegant, he can also be very clumsy and trip over his own 2 feet. And he's got quite a personality to him, but that personality is dork. Like it's just straight dork. And it's hilarious because him and the cat actually get along famously. And he was scared of cats at first until he realized that this one is just dumb and doesn't, do very much. And now, in fact, just earlier when I got home from work, these two were so excited they were chasing each other around the house, up and down the stairs to the basement. So it's
I do want to say it. I've met Brutus once. I went over and like at first glance, you would look at this dog and be very, very intimidated. As one of my cats is already messing with the Christmas tree that we just put up an hour ago. Um, like he just looks like a dog that it's like, okay, I gotta be careful. And then like sat down on your couch and he's just like, pet me.
yeah.
I need you.
He comes over and he's like, "Hey, you got any kind of treats for me? You got any pets?" And it's he's very much he likes to come greet you when you come into the house. Like me, he's got a routine when I come home and he hears the lock for the door open. He immediately comes over, tail's going absolutely nuts, smacking into our banner, creating all kinds of noise, and then he will run over to his toy basket. He will shuffle through it until he finds the toy he wants, pick it up in his mouth, come over to me, and then yell at me with the toy in his mouth, this sort of half muted growl. And I'm like, what do you want? And then he's got to yell at me a couple of more times until I take his toy and throw it for him. And then he's happy with himself. So yes, he looks very intimidating, but he's quite the big teddy bear. He's quite the lover. He's now looking up at me because he knows I'm talking about him. And
I
just an
got
overall goober.
got one more thing to close us out with. It was when Debbie and I first got together. And we didn't have Mara at this point. But I said to Debbie, like, cats take on the personalities of their owners. And without missing a beat, she's like, "Oh, is that why Magnus is so socially awkward?" And me, without missing a beat, I'm like, "Oh, is that why Jackson is so clingy?"
Oh,
So,
oh, that's funny.
yeah,
That's good stuff.
I
Magnus,
can see Mara's
socially.
like halfway up the tree now. So, yeah, this is. I feel like
That
the
would.
tree. Yeah, that's.
I'm
Oh,
waiting to see a
there
tree.
goes Debbie.
I'm waiting to see a tree in the background come crashing down.
No, it's like up in the front corner. Um,
That'd be
like
hilarious if all you
you
see is.
might, um, but I'm gonna be on tree watching duty for a little bit. So I better wrap this up and
There you
keep an
go.
eye out.
Well, here, I'll give you a little tip. And for our listeners out there, if you have cats that like messing with your tree, good practice. Get yourself one of those little bells. We have a little silver bell, and you hang it off the bottom branch of the trees. And then whenever the cats want to start messing with stuff, the bell, ding, ling, 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 gives you a little alert that somebody is being a little turd at 3 in the morning and messing with stuff. Isn't that right, bubbers? But yeah, that's a good way to keep track of your stuff.
Um, but we'll do quotes quick. Um, which mine is from Napoleon Hill, one of my favorite authors. What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Oh, that's a good one. I am trying to find one here. I'm shuffling through a lot of them, trying to see if I get a good one here.
Well, I'll do the outro quick so you can do that. Thank you guys for BSing with us, hanging out with us. Subscribe or follow to become a bud today. And did you find a quote?
Yes, I did. I will say real quick to finish up the outro, since you kind of had to do it twice in a row since pizza delivery
Yeah.
threw us off last time and squabbled it. I will say yes, thank you all so much for being with us and BSing with us. And you can let us know in the comments below more ideas for us to run into the ground. And we just keep on talking until we got nothing else to talk about. That's what we're best about. And I will end this by saying time that you enjoyed wasting was not wasted.
We will see you next time. And I'll let you know if my tree got knocked down.
You guys just take her easy now.